Hey guys, welcome back to the Fool Show. Of course, I am Foolish Phil. Welcome back to another season of Michigan sports. I tried a little bit this offseason to do some Tiger videos. Didn't take off. The Tigers were terrible this year. Bummer. But Michigan football is back. Sorry to those who maybe are looking at me a little closely. Having a little infection here. Had shingles outbreak. Sorry. Luckily for me, it's healing up well. Hopefully it won't be any issue for me going forward. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk about Michigan's game versus Colorado State. Michigan's non-conference schedule, of course, is pretty much cream puffville, but I don't mind. I am of the firm stance that there's no advantage to playing tough non-conference opponents. In the current college football playoff scenarios, 2 losses get you out of the playoffs. So why play Notre Dame? Why play in Oregon or Utah or whatever? You might win, great, but you have a good chance to lose those games, especially on the road. So I'm completely fine with Michigan going the cupcake route. There's a couple positives, and you saw them today. One, Michigan won handily. Great. You still had 106,000 fans in the big house. You still were able to, and another thing I really like is that Michigan gets to have the youngsters play. 84 players played today for Michigan. All those guys got reps and practice, and that's building for next year, right? When the seniors and juniors who go pro, whatever, leave, you have more experience. So I love these cupcake games. So that's just my opinion. Now, let's talk about the game. Michigan started off kind of blah. I know the score in the first half was 23-0, and fine, but Michigan just left a lot of points on the field. They had to kick 3 field goals. They had basically a 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line and had to kick from the 12-yard line. I mean, bleh. So, first half, good old Cade McNamara, sorry, just flipping it over, 7 of 15 for 128 yards. And 61 of those came on a 5-yard out pass to Roman Wilson, who went down and scored. So really, a lot of his yards are yards after catch by the receiver. Fine. I'll get to that in the end. The running backs were okay. The big story, though, maybe you could say, is that starting offensive lineman Ryan Hayes was injured. He couldn't go, so Barnhart came in, and he got injured, so Michigan was playing a 3rd-string offensive lineman. Maybe that had a little bit to do with Michigan's kind of lack of explosive plays. I also think a big factor, again, is Michigan. I don't remember Michigan taking a throw past 15 yards downfield. They just did not do anything to stretch Colorado State, nor did they have to. Maybe they're just working on their run game. I do have to question their red zone play calling, like 2 straight runs by Corum to the right. Just, okay, I mean, why can't we take a shot on the one-on-one with, Johnson or Anthony or whoever it was out there, right? One-on-one to one of our good wide receivers. Why can't you do a slant to him or a fade to them? Instead we do runs. I know, it's Colorado State. You're working on things. Fine, but it left me wanting. I think that's really what you can say about the first half. Just felt like a blah, a meh first half. The defense was great, don't get me wrong. Junior Colson ended up having the 10 tackles. It was hard for me to pick a player of the game, but I think I'll go with him. 10 tackles, especially the line at the linebacker spot. Michigan obviously has a lot of responsibility put on the linebackers in this defense, and I thought he did a really good job. So I'll go with Junior Colson as my player of the game. Mozzie Smith, excellent. The defense overall, excellent. I love it that Colorado State went for 3 4th down tries, and Michigan sacked them 3 times. And then, of course, one of those, I think, was the forced fumble where Turner, I think it is, returned it for the scoop and score. So excellent, obviously. Had the pick there, too, early in the first half, so really good there. 2 turnovers to get, and Michigan gave back 0, so that's really good. Another positive, Michigan only had 1 penalty, so good things that way. Second half, Michigan just really took over the game. ran the ball really well. It is what it is. This is what you expect out of a Colorado State team, a team that's not going to, shouldn't and didn't threaten Michigan. And that's what you want to see. No injuries outside of the linemen. You had 4 quarterbacks play, lots of running backs played, 15 receivers caught a pass. Overall, just great. That's what you want. Okay, so those are just some thoughts about the game. Now, I have questions. Did Cade McNamara, let me look at his stats here a second, 9 of 18, 136 yards. So, from the first half to the second half, he picked up 8 yards. I know he didn't play all the second half, but did Cade McNamara show you enough that to say he's a starter? I know he started 1 of 5. There were a couple drops by receivers, but he started and he was just off. I mean, his throws to Johnson were terrible. Johnson's trying to catch these things. They're just terrible. Throws in the dirt, offline. He settled in. But did that look like a starting quarterback? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how JJ does now with a week to prepare, knowing he's going to be the starter in this competition. Will he start tight like Cade did today? That'll be interesting to see. And just the dynamic. JJ comes in and he carries the ball 4 times, I think it was, for 50 yards and a touchdown. Maybe it's 3 carries. He was 4 for 4 passing. I mean, don't get me wrong, he wasn't the starter, so he could come in specific plays where he's practiced and he has a good idea what to do, so we'll see how JJ does when he has a full week to prep and he's got to get in the huddle for the first time against Hawaii. But if I was going to score Cade's game, I'd give it like a 4 out of 10. I mean, 1 touchdown again to Roman Wilson. He almost threw a pick, but it got overturned. The ball hit the ground. I really wish ESPN would have shown a better replay of that, because did Eric All trip? It looked like he tripped, that he would have been there for the pass, but he tripped on the turf, and that obviously made it look like a terrible pick. But ESPN didn't show very good replays. They must have been getting used to having football again, too. They didn't know how to do replays. Second question. Are you confident that Michigan doing this 200 yards passing, 200 yards rushing, basically, is this going to work, or does Michigan just working on the rushing game? Do you think they're going to pass more against better teams like Iowa, who, when I was driving home, they had 7 points, a field goal, and 2 safeties? That's how they have their 7 points. Iowa's a stupendous defense. They have no offense. But will Michigan be able to just run the ball on Iowa? I mean, obviously it works against some teams, like Washington last year, and obviously Ohio State, where you just ran the ball very well with some throws sprinkled in. So, that'll be interesting to see. A classic Michigan game, 200 passing, 200 rushing. Is that going to be good enough in the Big Ten? What do you think of that? I said Junior Colson was my player of the game. I could have obviously seen Mozzie. I always say Maisie. Mozzie Smith. He did a great job clogging up the middle. It was great to see Sanderstill get a sack. You also had, I think it's a Nobe. I might say that wrong. But the 5-star guy who just came in August, he got, I think it was 1 snap, and he got the sack. So, potential for sure. So it's great when their defense gets 7 sacks, forces 2 turnovers, and only gives up 7 points, and that 7's in the 4th quarter. Love it. Great to get reps for those younger guys. So those are my thoughts. Michigan gets the win they should. It was I would say, good game. If I would say, entertainment value for me, I'd put this at a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I'd probably say a 6. I love seeing the backups play. It was a comfortable win in the end. The first half was kind of field goal. I had flashbacks to early season of last year where Michigan would have to settle for field goals too often. But it is what it is. And that's something to work on. It's nice to have, Moody to kick those, because he, won the award for best kicker in the league last year in the whole college football. So, what do you think? So, who's your MVP of the game? What score would you give Cade? Did he instill confidence that he can be the quarterback number 1? Let me know what you guys think. Again, I appreciate you guys watching. I hope you're back for the fall season. Should be a good one. And until I see you next time after the Hawaii game, as always, go blue.